This morning's Old Testament lesson is a story that most of us are familiar with. I actually have fond memories of this tale of Moses at the burning bush from Sunday school, because we made all types of neat arts and crafts using shoeboxes, cotton, and a bunch of yellow leaves. And our Sunday school teacher cautioned us not to set anything on fire. The story begins as Moses is minding his own business, shepherding his father-in-law Jethro's sheep in the land of Midian. He led his flock to a place beyond the wilderness to graze. Here, he is witness to a burning bush on Mount Horeb, the mountain of God. When Moses approaches the bush, the voice of God calls out to him, "Moses, Moses." He responds, "Here I am." God explains to Moses that he has a plan for him to save the Israelites from slavery in Egypt and lead them to the promised land. Moses is doubtful of his ability to do this and questions God. "Who am I to do this? What have they asked me to send me?" God answers with that famous line, "I am who I am." This is what you are to say to the Israelites. "I am has sent me to you." There are a few things about this tale of doubt and faith that resonated with me. It grabbed my heart, touched my spirit, and I'd like to spend just a few moments and share those things with you. God often comes to us in unusual places and at unexpected times in our lives. For reasons unknown, maybe Moses wanted a change of scenery, or perhaps the grazing pasture was sparse. Moses led his flock of sheep beyond the wilderness, away from the usual place where they ate. He ventured further out to a more desolate, less populated place. And accidentally, he came upon holy ground. It was here where he was able to hear and to see God as he never had before. He saw a flaming bush that was not consumed by the flame. He leaned towards it. He heard God call out to him from the flame. I can only imagine what it felt. A mixture of emotions: frightened, scared, perplexed, excited. Since March, we've been away from our usual place of worship. We haven't worshiped inside the walls of holy innocence. We've been away from the holy ground on which she sits. Like Moses, we felt a range of emotions in response to this new way of being with God. We've traded in our church pews for our comfortable couches and dining room chairs. Our church shoes remain in the closet, replaced by flip-flops and slippers. We miss gathering at the altar to receive Holy Communion, consuming the host, the body of Christ, drinking from the chalice, the blood of Christ, the cup of salvation. Yet we still remember the sacrifice, and this communal remembrance, this common desire we have to be together, continues to unite us. We are the body of Christ, wherever we are in the world. The disruption and necessity to do church differently has gotten our attention. It has challenged us to think about how we experience God. Although church has changed, God has not, and still continues to be there for us and to feed us, to nourish our spirits. It's important for us to remember that just as our Creator revealed to Moses in an unusual place, God meets us right where we are, in these unusual times away from our usual space. Wherever we are, in our living room, porches, dormitories, classrooms, the ground that we stand on to pray, to worship, to serve God, is in fact holy ground. God has a way of getting our attention. Sometimes it's a subtle nudge, that quiet voice that whispers to us in the stillness of life. Other times, something happens in our lives, or in the world, that stirs up our spirit and inspires us to act. Awestruck and caught up in the moment, Moses acted by responding to God's call, saying, "Here I am." Now, Moses is not simply letting God know where he is. He's saying, "God, you have my full attention. I am present, listening, and ready to serve." Have you ever agreed to do something, and when you found out exactly what it entailed, you thought to yourself, "What have I gotten myself into?" This is where we find Moses this morning. He willingly responded to God's call. He took off his sandals as instructed, a sign of reverence to God. He opened his heart to listen, and as soon as he made himself at home, as soon as he was comfortable in the presence of the Lord, he gives his marching orders. "Go to Pharaoh and bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt." Now, this is no small favor God is asking Moses, a Hebrew who was raised by Pharaoh's daughter and killed an Egyptian. Moses, who fled Egypt to escape punishment ordered by Pharaoh. With the history between Moses and Pharaoh, I understand his response. "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" Now, I can only imagine what Moses was thinking. Has God forgotten who I am? Matter of fact, this sounds like a really dangerous mission. I was raised in a palace, but I'm not royalty. I am a lowly shepherd with lowly resources. I am not the man for you. I get it, Moses. I understand his questioning and self-doubt. Moses sounds like a regular person, like you and I. When God calls upon us, puts it on our hearts to act differently, to think in ways that question what we've been taught, to do things that are uncomfortable or that challenge the status quo. Maybe we followed our hearts and been hurt. Perhaps we've taken God's lead and things didn't work out the way we thought that they would. So now we're afraid to be vulnerable, to take our sandals off. We fear making ourselves at home in God's presence because we're not ready to respond to what God is revealing to us, to what God might ask us to do. God, knowing Moses inside and out, assures him, "I will be with you. I am who I am. And through my power, you will be able to accomplish what I have asked. I will prepare you, equip you, and protect you." Just as God was aware of every challenge Moses faced and why he was reluctant to go with Pharaoh and negotiate the Israelites' freedom, God knows us and understands why we hesitate to respond yes to what God has called us to do. We all have our crosses to bear, our personal challenges and shortcomings. We all hear God and sometimes fail to respond. Yet God is faithful and will continue to call us by name and meet us right where we are.